It is the Savage Nation. As you well know, the votes of 7 million Californians was nullified today by one little Caesar by the name of Judge Vaughn Walker. One little Caesar in black robes has said that I am 7 million times more important than you are. One judge thrown out the votes of 7 million Californians, and this left-wing judge in a black robe has ruled that you have no vote whatsoever. Judge Vaughn Walker was appointed, by the way, by George Bush Sr. Today struck down California's Proposition 8, which said that marriage shall only be between a man and a woman. In a 138-page decision, Little Caesar assaulted and insulted the voters of this state. The Little Caesar called Vaughn Walker claimed that Prop 8 places the force of law behind stigmas against gays and lesbians. Little Caesar claimed that the right to marry protects an individual's choice of marital partner, regardless of gender. Now, let me go on to the next step. The fact that this Little Caesar happens to be gay is an issue. This is a bias. And the fact that the media refuses to report to you that Little Caesar is a member of the gay community is unto itself a bias. I want to assert immediately that the bias inherent in Judge Walker has been seen before. For example, during the campaign for Proposition 8, Little Caesar, the gay judge, forced those behind Prop 8 to turn over thousands of pages of internal memos to the other side, and Little Caesar Walker allowed the trial to be broadcast in order to embarrass the people who brought Proposition 8. Both of these rulings by Little Caesar were overturned by higher courts. So, to begin with, you have an inherent bias in the form of the judge. He has shown himself to be biased, but the real question today is not so much do you approve or disapprove of gay marriage, although that is fundamentally at the core of the whole discussion. The real question is this. Judge Walker says it's unconstitutional to ban a gay from marrying. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what is more unconstitutional? Is it not more unconstitutional that one man, albeit a stinking vermin in a black robe, one man has nullified the votes of 7 million people? Do you not think this is unconstitutional, that one man shall have power over 7 million people? It's exactly why the United States of America was created, to avoid tyranny. So we have gone from black shirts to black robes in several generations. In the 20s and the 30s of the last century, Mussolini, the fascist dictator, sent thugs in black shirts with nightsticks out into the streets to beat up anyone who might oppose his tyrannical regime. Mussolini used brutality, and he stole votes in order to get into power. But not even Mussolini had the audacity to nullify 7 million votes to achieve his ends. Tell me the difference between the black shirts and the black robes in America today. I want to remind you, Proposition 8 was passed by the voters of California in 2008. And even though the state voted for Obama, an overwhelming majority of Californians said that marriage was between a man and a woman. Even black voters, all of whom 90, 95, 98% voted for Obama, 90% of black voters voted against gay marriage. 70% of Asians or 80% of Asians voted against gay marriage. 80% of Hispanics voted against gay marriage. So how does one bitter Little Caesar in a black robe have the power to throw out all of those votes? The only question for you today is Judge Vaughn Walker 7 million times more important than you are? Now, I want to ask you some other questions. How do you feel about one Little Caesar stealing 7 million votes today? Number 2, are you for or against gay marriage, and why? Number 3, do you actually think that all gays are in favor of gay marriage? Because I know it not to be true. The phone number here is 1-800-449-8255. My name is Michael Savage. This is an incendiary issue, and I'm going to invite you to call this show to talk about how you feel today learning that one man, remember, underneath that black robe there is a man. Who has empowered this one man to have more power than you? Is it in our Constitution? Show me somewhere in the Constitution where it says one man's vote is more powerful than 7 million people. I thought this country was built on the edict of one man, one vote. How did it become one man, 7 million votes? How did this rotten, stinking creature think he has the power to throw out 7 million votes? It's clearly unconstitutional what this rat did today. And I'm going to tell you again, if your father or your grandfather died in a war in order to give you freedom, he's rolling over in his grave today because what this pig did today is steal your vote. You know, I'm going to get very emotional in a minute. I haven't yet warmed up. How the hell can you sit there and take this? How the hell can you sit there and say, oh, well, the judge ruled? I say the judge didn't rule. The judge stole your vote. The judge said 7 million people dropped dead. I am greater than you. I am Little Caesar. Now I'll go to the next step. You know, in order for a measure to achieve the status of getting onto a ballot here in California, a measure has to go through many, many legal steps. They have to prove that the measure is constitutional, and that's a good thing. If they didn't review it from a constitutional level, you could put something on the ballot initiative that says we shall deport all illegal aliens. And then people would say, well, maybe that's a good idea, or we shall do this or do that. And you say, well, is it constitutional to do that? So they had a long discussion, and it was found that this ballot initiative was constitutional. It was hard fought, and it was won fair and square. It then went to the California Supreme Court. Even the liberal California Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage shall be illegal in the state of California. So what the vermin in the ACLU did, the few radicals in the ACLU, all of whom are subversives, every member of the ACLU is a subversive. If I had the power, I would investigate the ACLU under the RICO statutes. If I had the power, I would find them guilty under RICO statutes. I would seize all of their assets and I'd throw them out of the country. But I don't have the power. They have the power. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in a tyranny. It is a tyranny of the few. It is a tyranny of the few who continue to fly in the face of everything decent about this country. They will steal your vote itself in order to push their filthy agenda down your throats. And they did so today. That's right, they did so today. One Little Caesar in a black robe named Vaughn Walker, a radical left-winger put in power by none other than George Bush Sr., has said today that 7 million people in the Supreme Court can drop dead because he's more important than them. Now, of course, this isn't the last stop on the train. It will next go to the Ninth Circuit Court of Schlemiels, all of whom are left-wingers. They belong somewhere in Romania in the 1950s rather than in the United States. No doubt the Ninth Circuit will side with Judge Walker because they're out of touch with the mainstream of this country. It will then go to the U.S. Supreme Court, and I suspect that the Supreme Court will vote 5-4 and support Proposition 8. But when you see the votes of Americans thrown out the window by a judge, do you think that's something that is good for America at a time like this? Do you think that this is going to bring people together or make people crazier than they already are? Do you actually think that there aren't people out there who are not going to go crazy because of this? Do you actually think that people can take endless insults from the ACLU and the radical deviants in the left wing until something terrible happens in this country? The left does not know when to stop. The left will not stop until the country goes up in flames. Don't give them what they want. I'll repeat that. Don't give them what they want. They want insurrection so that their man in Havana, old Obama, can declare martial law and take away all of your rights altogether. This is the savage nation. How do you feel about one Little Caesar in a black robe stealing 7 million votes? Number 2, are you for or against gay marriage and why? And make your argument succinct. Don't ramble on. Don't editorialize. Make your points clearly. Are you for or against gay marriage and why? That's the real issue today. Number 3, if you are interested in this topic, you can call the show, but try to have a rational discussion today. Otherwise, it's going to be a bore. I mean, to get into a screaming match is boring television. I'm not MSNBC. This is a talk show 20,000 leagues above them. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. Incidentally, I want to make a note that you should know about. I predicted this in my to-be-published book, Trickle Up Poverty, available not yet. It's only available 2 months from now. I wish it was out now. You want to get a sneak peek, go to Amazon.com, and you'll see yours truly, Michael Savage. You'll see the cover. You'll see what's in it. I predicted it. I said more things are coming. I make predictions in that book, Trickle Up Poverty, that you're not going to believe. I'll be right back.
Savage.